Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another Total War Rome 2 online replay. And I'm sorry guys, I haven't been uploading the past couple days. I've been getting ready for the holiday season. Today we were looking at a match between me playing as Pontus and my opponent playing as the Seleucids. Now, I'm pretty sure I played against this exact same guy yesterday, and when he did it, he hill camped in a forest with a bunch of thorax pikes and thurio spears and Syrian heavy archers, and I basically got my butt handed to me. I actually got pretty close to beating it, but meh. Well, not pretty close. It was still pretty crushing defeat, but I had a point where I definitely could have won. So the build I brought here, I brought one mercenary naked sword, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Pontic swordsmen, 4 Eastern javelin men, because I expected as a Seleucid player, and since I played him already before, he was probably going to bring pikes, which he ended up bringing only 2. 2 citizen cav, and a Pontic royal cavalry, with one of each on each flank, and a scythe chariot. The other reason I really brought the naked swords is because I just had money left over and didn't have enough money left over to get a Pontic swordsman. And I gotta say, Pontic swordsman, is that a wolf? I'm not the only one who's... One second, please. That will probably end up being the thumbnail. Either that or some other thing I get with the wolves in here. It would be cool if the animals actually did something. My opponent bought 2 thorax pikemen in his front. This actually isn't that bad of an idea. Against most players, they were probably, well, newer players anyway, you don't know what to do. They would probably just run right into them. I wouldn't bring thorax pikemen if I was going to try and do that. Rely on that strategy. 4 Syrian archers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... might be a continuation of that one. Just 6. Just 6 thurio spears, a thorax swordsman, 2 Median cav, a Hellenic cataphract, and a scythe chariot. Now, my plan here was I was basically just going to send my javelin up to break his pick line, because really, as I saw, you guys have seen in my Tylus versus Seleucid video, all the thing with pikes builds is if you can make a hole in one, and unless they have pikes in reserve, you're generally going to break right through. Now, this was a very bad idea on my part. I should have sent my Pontic swordsman up earlier. I do eventually, because these guys do have precursor javelin. Now, what I did is I actually put these guys in the shield wall, as that actually gives them a bonus toward their shield defense also. So I did that because primarily I didn't really care about my Eastern skirmish javelin men, because I knew I was going to really only rely on them on taking out these pikemen, which I do start getting to it. I said in my mercenary naked swords, they do not have shield wall. And I kind of forget them while I'm marking around some of my other units, like my cavalry. However, I do notice this little gap here, and I really should have done is I attacked this thurio spear. However, I should have sent them right up there to strap those Syrians. And also, I fixed the problem with not having shield variation anymore. Turned out I just had the wrong shader button installed on. Well, here I get my Pontic swordsmen at close enough range so they can throw their precursor javelins, and I just start tearing apart these pike lines. I really should have done this first. Now, if you have infantry who have precursor javelins and you didn't bring many skirmishers and you have a pike line, don't worry, because if you just put them close enough, and you do that, you're gonna cut right through those pikes. Now I get my scythe chariots in because this thurio spear is fighting my naked warriors, and my scythe chariots would go through pretty easily. That pike falls, so I send some of my Pontic swordsmen. And because I'm trying to micro the chariot around, I don't get around to bring some of my Pontic swordsmen in as soon as I wish I could. Where my scythe chariot goes right through these Syrian archers, the thorax swordsmen, and some of these thurio spears, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. These naked swords, what they're really doing is they're just not throwing the precursor javelins on any of my units over here, which is what I really want them to do. Right now I'm just waiting for a good time to send my cav in. Over here I see that this one Median cav is all by itself. So I get a good charge from my citizen cavalry. And my keeps trying to say Hippeus Lancers. Pontic royal cav around the side. However, I know she does bring his chariots in. So I send my cav in because I'd rather my cav die than my Pontic swordsman. Over here I notice he has his Hellenic cataphract and his Median cav kind of parted ways. And now, especially that Hellenic cataphract left, I know I can fight this Median cav pretty easily. I believe my scythe chariot does rout. Yeah, I think it routed already. However, I did get a great amount of kills. And these Syrian archers aren't really firing anymore. Well, they're still firing, but I definitely culled down their numbers a lot. Now all the thorax pikemen are gone, I can use my Pontic swordsman. Really cause some damage. However, these Hellenic cataphracts are coming around the back to get a charge. So these Syrian archers are starting the rout. My javelin actually run out of ammo, so I can send them to fight these chariots. And his chariots, they get a decent amount of kills. However, they do not get nearly as many as I do. And over here you can see I send my Pontic swordsman to fight these chariots, because what you really need to do is you need to bog them down. As you see, they're deciding to just stand there and let them run them over. There goes Sirius versus Pontic swordsman, and this actually happens a lot. Sometimes you move your soldiers to get in a file like this if you have formation attack, and you generally don't want to do that. Over here, these Pontic swordsmen fighting them. Median Cav is fighting Citizen Cav and Hippias Pontic Royal Cav. I get a good back towards my Pontic Royal Cav and those skirmishers. He decides to engage my Citizen Cav with his scythe chariot. He does not try to pull it through. However, we're still getting plenty of kills with him. These thorax swordsmen over here are losing because they're on the fight from the back. I know having two Pontic swordsmen fight this Thurio spear is kind of overkill, so eventually I do pull one back. This Thurio spear over here is completely surrounded. His Hellenic cataphract has some back charges already. I have about 90 kills. He did use stampedes, and now his units are very, very tired. He gets a charge into my Pontic swordsman. I think he was really going for my Pontic Royal Cav. However, if I do pull him back, these Thurio spears over here are going for a charge. I throw my Citizen Cav in just to kind of block off part of the charge. Because the Hellenic cataphracts are cleaning house right now. Getting a great amount of kills. I pulled one of my Pontic swordsmen back. And I believe his scythe chariots will lose a bunch of more men, and they're broken and they leave the battlefield. I keep pulling back my Pontic Royal Cav because they are shot cav, so they will lose to these Median Cav in long-term combat. However, at this point I know I just need to wrap it up because I have so many more Pontic swordsmen. Now, one thing that you can really learn from this battle is the fact that if you're fighting someone who brings pikes, don't charge them all at all. If you have units that have precursor javelins, then you can use those to basically just rip that pike line apart. At that point, most people's pike-oriented builds, generally they can't fall back on anything. So at that point, you're more or less guaranteed to win. However, he still could have won this. He's still doing fantastic with his Hellenic Hellenic cataphracts. However, now they're exhausted and they're just not going to be able to fight as good as they used to. So better use of his cavalry, his chariots too. Maybe not let me, he definitely should have focused on my skirmishers more. And he should have moved his pikes up too, because that sometimes can be a good idea. Now I'm just cleaning up the rest of his army. Routing the rest of his troops. I pop a raised banner just in case, because I didn't want any of my Pontic swordsmen to rout, because some of them are pretty low on morale. And my Citizen Cav also. So guys, I'm going to have a holiday special coming up soon. You're going to hear my fantastic voice singing, which I'm sure you'll all be very happy about. And overall, I hope everyone's having a very good pre-holiday season. I know I am. And I guess I'll catch you all later. Peace!